So when we wrote this show, we tried to show Yase is a person who's going through these dissociative episodes, or his way of repressing the feeling. And as you see in the show, we try to show Yase is going through things where he's hearing things.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. But for us, for the writers, we know it's like something coming from the past. Yeah. And then we're showing there's this connection between him and the place that he just goes blank out. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know how to explain it. And he goes there. Can you share with us if it's something that do you feel like credible or real to you?
Oh, yes. Whatever you showed in the show, I didn't see it as hyper. I didn't see it as drama.
Mm-hmm.
I said, someone is finally talking about all this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, shukriya, so much. Someone is showing what's happening. Because that's what, whenever trauma happens, trauma is not what happens. But trauma is not what happened to you. It's what happens inside you when something happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
So from the outside, something is happening and something happens inside us. And at that moment, for Inche Yasir or for Ayan or anyone who's been through whatever, it's so intense that it's beyond the capacity of the brain-body system to perchaya, to believe what's happening, to receive it. So it's like it collapses, it shuts down.
How often do you see the characters and what they go through? Like, for example, Zaid becomes this self-destructive person.
Yes.
And Bahamin becomes this person who doesn't know how to have age-appropriate relationships. Right? How often do you come up with this sort of cases?
It's very sad if you hear the answer. Because in Asia, not Malaysia, whole of Asian society, we are a very much top-down society or a very instructional society, trying to be good. We are very, put this in good box and bad box. We don't pause to understand. So which means people are doing their very best to cope, to live. And then they have a breakdown. Then they still cope on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, when it's too ugly, they come in for sessions, which means I see it every day. In every session.
Meaning?
Different versions of this. I can see an Inche Zaid, an Inche Bamin, an Inche Yasir, an Ayan. I work with children as young as 3 years old who got lucky because their parents reached out for help. Most people don't.
So to you, when you mention it's too late for these people who have let this trauma shape them in a way for too long, and they couldn't
I wouldn't say it's too late because it's better late than never. But so many decades lost to pain because they can't connect how that story is linked to my behaviors now. Yeah, and that's what we want to bring out through your production, through this. You all are bringing it out for awareness to society that some crap happened when they are young.
Yeah.
It shapes and molds how they live in life, different behaviors.
So in the spirit of this, of raising awareness, for example, if I see, for the audience or whatever, if we see people who are going through these things, maybe we should talk about that first. Can you tell us about what are the clear symptoms of someone repressing, emotions or trauma?
The first key thing is nobody is repressing it. They are repressing it, but why does it get repressed? Because they don't even know they can speak about it. It's got so much of shame attached to it if they speak. What does shame mean when someone speaks up and the person asks, why didn't you shout? Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you tell me? That is judgment. And that means shame. So the fear of that, nobody speaks up. And usually the story of the trauma does not come up as the story every day in the mind. It comes up as uneasiness. Because what trauma does is, when it's too much to process, everything is remembered but not processed. And everything is feared. So 20 years later, this man walking on the road, or like in Cheyasir walking somewhere.
Yeah.
And suddenly something in that vision, that look, that tone, that raised eyebrow, that tree, that plant, that smell, and it
Triggers something.
activates all that inside. And then he might be hearing sounds, he might blank out, depending that outside activates that repressed stuff. Yeah, so it's 20 years later, the past is still in the present.
So in a way, these are psychological things that are happening inside the mind, but do you see it physically?
Oh,
do you
yes.
think?
Thank you. Thanks for that question. It's not just happening in a little box in the mind. It's a whole mind-body affair, as I call it. It can come up as symptoms, as gastric symptoms, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, migraines. It can come up when they see doctors, and doctors might say this is not a medical cause. Then we know it's coming from something else. It comes up as so much of skin issues, breathing issues, so many things. And that's the satisfaction I get from my work as we do this work every week after week after week with the persons. They notice shifts in this.
So they discover the things that they have to address.
It gets addressed, and then, I didn't come to see you for that, and that is shifting. And I feel great.
Because they understand themselves even more, right?
Yes.
When talking about this, when talking about behavior of these people, like you mentioned before, like they're extreme, so like doing something but behavior of like very opposite of that.
Yes.
Can we talk about self-destructive behaviors and how often and why do people do this to themselves?
What do you mean by self-destructive? Contohnya?
Self-destructive are some people would hurt themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Some people go into vices are very damaging, like drinking or drugs.
Thanks.
Yeah. So can you shed some light on why people do this? Why is this a reaction?
It's simply because we never say why is that behavior. We say what's the pain. That pain tabale tahan lagi needs.
It's just numbing.
Yeah, you got it. One is numbing. So we go to something. We might go to alcohol. That gives you a feeling of relaxation, and more of the crap comes up and you become more sensitive. Go home and have an ugly fight. Yeah, that's a classic one. And it can be drugs. It can be excessive smoking. It can be cutting.
Yeah.
It can be so many things. And it's all self-sabotaging behavior, self-harm. It's not that they want to harm themselves, but that pain is so hard that you want to hit something to numb that pain out like that, yeah? That unprocessed trauma, we know. And that's how we measure healing. Hey, how much is this behavior happening? Is it lesser?
Yeah.
Less intense. And the biggest self-sabotage that happens is because trauma doesn't allow us to trust relationships. It really doesn't. It gets us to fear relationships. And so that human body will not allow this person living in the body to enjoy closeness. It's self-destruction, self-sabotaging close relationships with partners, children, loved ones.
So when you say like they close off relationships,
they don't want to close off. The body won't let them go close.
And usually it's out of shame in a way, because they don't want to be found out for what they went through.
It's never not. They don't even know that the trauma is directing this behavior. They don't know. Trauma means a person who did that to him, man or woman or whatever, did that to this person. So this person's body and how the body nervous system cannot trust relationships. So that's the biggest loss in life. A yearn for a connection, and
for this connection to happen, like someone should be able to share their feelings, right, in order to deepen the relationships. Yeah.
To hear their pain when they share.
Yeah. Because it crossed my mind. I was thinking like, in the writer's room for ourselves, like I found out like 8 out of 10 people in the writer's room actually went through such cases, but then it was never mentioned, So yeah, it's like, it's quite an alarming thought to know like actually you are surrounded by people who have went through this kind of trauma, but just never shared. And maybe some of them don't even know it was trauma at the time, only until like later they find out, right? So I think maybe there is a way. Does it make sense to say that when they only found out later, that will affect their relationship, as you said just now? Yeah.
But only when we speak about it like this and put it out here, then people will come to recognize, hey, it's not that I'm deliberately sabotaging relationships. Something is unprocessed inside me and I want to go close to that person. They say something, I hear different hijacking of my brain happens and I don't know what I said. And it's gone. It's broken the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense. But like in a way, we're saying that when someone's saying all this and blurting out everything, right?
Yeah.
That is maybe like if someone does that to us, we can think that they have a problem. But how does that person realize that they have that problem within themselves? Because often like people in these cases, like also for our characters, say like he thinks he doesn't have these things. How?
Usually when that person goofs up so badly.
Goofs up.
Goofs up means makes a mistake so badly. Hey, again and again and again, I'm sabotaging this relationship and I'm going to lose my wife or my husband or that partner or my child. I don't know why or what, but I don't want to lose that relationship. Yeah? Or I don't want to lose that job or something I can't understand. And then that's one of the reasons we say, presenting problem, they'll bring in that issue. I don't know why I'm behaving like this.
So
Help me.
So if you can like measure your, how you say, the relationship of you with someone, how genuine it is, how healthy it is, and essentially then you can see also how you're contributing it and how you're affecting it with yourself.
But usually initially trauma won't let you see that. Unprocessed trauma won't let you see that. No, I'm right. You're always misunderstanding me.
Usually that is the case.
It takes this position because as I read earlier, you never want to lose. It's too scary to be in the thought of not having power.
Can you elaborate on that, on having power? What does that mean?
You see, in a relationship, in any relationship, it's two persons. You share something, I hear. I share something, you hear. You accept me as I am. I accept you as you are. But if I'm sharing something, for example, today morning it's difficult to wake up and go to work. And you tell me you should have slept earlier last night. Classic one. Immediately I feel
powerless.
Thank you. So I feel loss of power. So when sexual abuse has happened, it's never about sex.
Yes.
That person who's done that is never about sex. It's about power over another person.
Yeah.
And it's never ever tak cukup lah. However much you do, tak cukup, tak cukup, tak cukup.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen from media and a little bit of research is saying often people who are hurting other people are those who are hurt also.
Absolutely. But they can't connect that hurt. They don't even know they were hurt because our society manjadi biasa normalized it.
Yeah,
I also got spanked 5 times. Lucky you got spanked only 4 times. You know,
they
normalize it. So we don't know that has impacted us and that is now taking away from the present moment.
Because it's true, young some people, because power is taken from them, whether from their childhood or romantic relationships, they try to take it from other people.
They don't do it consciously. The body will not allow closeness and it will always try to be in this position. Behaviors will, like you saw in Chick Barman, he lost his voice to, he was just going along wherever. As long as you leave me alone, I'll do what you want, leave me alone. We saw in Chizaid a different way of getting power. We saw in Yasser a different way of getting power. You ask him a question, can't speak up, can't answer. And what changed? What made you change? Cannot trust enough to speak up. Initially,
yeah.
Because he doesn't know. How do you explain what you can't understand to somebody?
Yeah, exactly. I think that is
the worst part of trauma.
In a way of epidemic of of society also.
Yes, exactly. They'll ask questions. I want to understand, but I don't know how to explain to you. And just hear. and hear. That's all we need to do.
To be there for people,
Yeah.
to just understand what they're going through, so you can, in a way, help them have that sense of power.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Healthy power. This
Healthy
is healthy power.
Yeah. And also by doing that, having a relationship with them, you can also reflect how healthy you are as a person
Exactly.
and how they contribute in the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes what's also healthy is if suppose you are sharing something with me,
Yeah.
or anyone, if Inche Yasser wanted to share something with me, and if on that particular day, or if I always didn't have capacity to hear that, on that particular day I don't have capacity to hear pain, raw pain, it's very respectful if I can say, I want to hear you, and today, that capacity today. That's also respect. That's healthy power, isn't it?
Communicating what you can and cannot do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's courage. That's resilience. Healthy power. Thanks for asking that question. Thank you.